Welcome back to Creepy Narratives, Brave Souls. Today we venture deep into a tale based on real events, where a group of friends discovers the chilling truth that sometimes legends lurking in the shadows aren't just stories. So gather around and remember, the tales you tell might just come alive when you least expect them. Let's dive in. Growing up in the same neighborhood, Anna, Mason, Leo, and Jess shared countless memories, from scraped knees to backyard adventures. They were the kind of friends who built forts, went on bike rides, and shared secrets under the stars. College had taken each of them to different parts of the country, opening new chapters in their lives. But amidst the hustle of academics, part-time jobs, and adapting to new environments, they had a pact. No matter where life took them, they'd reunite for their annual camping trip. It was a chance to catch up, to relive the old days, and to remember the bond they shared. This year, they decided on a more secluded spot, a remote forest that promised serenity and a break from the buzzing of technology and the weight of adult responsibilities. On the first evening, as the sun gave way to twilight, their campsite was alive with joy. The warm glow of the campfire illuminated their faces, and the air was thick with the comforting scent of burning wood. Laughter echoed, stories of college escapades were traded, and everyone felt that familiar bond tightening once more. Seeing an opportunity as the world around them grew darker, Mason, always the adventurous one, pitched an idea. How about we share some scary stories tonight? Look around us. We're deep in the woods, night's almost upon us. What could be a more fitting setting? Anna cleared her throat, the atmosphere around the campfire instantly becoming more tense with anticipation. She started, "Years ago, in a town not too far from here, there were tales of a faceless creature with long, shadowy tendrils instead of limbs. It wasn't just any creature. This one had an eerie way of luring its prey. It would whisper sweet memories, long-forgotten tunes, or the voice of a lost loved one, anything to pull them closer, deeper into its heart of darkness. And once you followed the voice, well, you became a part of the woods, forever lost." Another whisper in the wind. Mason gulped, looking around nervously while Leo tried to lighten the mood with a jest. Jess, ever the skeptic, chuckled and brushed Anna's story aside. "Come on, every town has its tall tales. Next, you'll say it stands right behind us, waiting to catch us off guard." After a few more tales, they retired to their tents. The excitement of the day and the fatigue from their hike weighed heavy on their eyelids, but just as Leo was on the brink of sleep, he thought he caught something, a soft, melodic whisper. At first, he believed it to be the rustling leaves or maybe the flowing river nearby. However, a few hours into the night, Jess's wide-eyed face loomed over Anna, jolting her awake. Jess's voice trembled as she whispered, "Anna, I heard something. Those whispers, they're real." Anna, her heart pounding loudly, strained her ears. Among the ambient noises of the forest, there it was, the unmistakable sound of unintelligible whispers. The tales around the campfire no longer felt like mere stories, and a cold wave of dread washed over them. Mason's face tried to display confidence as he brushed off the uneasy atmosphere. "You know, there are always pranksters in such places. It's probably just someone having a laugh after they heard our stories by the fire," he said, trying to sound casual, but the wavering in his voice betrayed a hint of his own anxiety. The thick forest canopy seemed to press in on them, the comforting cocoon of their campsite suddenly feeling exposed and vulnerable. Jess chewed on her lip nervously. "But Mason, we haven't seen anyone else since we set up here. This place seemed pretty isolated." Her words seemed to hang heavily in the air as each of them pondered the unnerving implications. Leo stared into the distance, his mind racing. The once familiar sounds of the forest now seemed alien and threatening. Every rustle, every chirp made him jump. The idea of hours stretching till dawn felt like an eternity, and the most unsettling part was that the whispered voices didn't stay faint for long. With each passing minute, they grew louder, more pronounced. It felt as though the woods themselves were speaking to them, closing in from all sides, The group's resolve solidified. Jess murmured, "We can't stay here," her voice barely above the ever-present whispers. As they scrambled to gather their belongings, a shrill scream pierced the thick tension. It was Anna. She stood frozen, her eyes wide with horror, pointing at the ground beside the dying campfire. There, in the midst of ashes, was a hastily written note. "Whispers call you deeper in, but those who go never win." The handwriting appeared rushed, desperate even, as if scribbled in sheer terror. The realization hit them like a tidal wave. They weren't alone, and the woods were awake. A blanket of fear enveloped them as they stared at the note. Without wasting another moment, they dropped whatever they were packing, leaving behind their tents, campfire, and belongings. Safety became their only priority. Their heartbeats pounded loudly in their ears, each thud matching the pace of their frantic footsteps. Mason, taking the lead, shouted, "To the car, quick!" Every shadow seemed menacing. Every gust of wind felt like a spectral touch, and the once familiar path to their car now seemed convoluted and unfamiliar. Jess stumbled, her breaths coming out in ragged gasps. Leo, right behind her, gripped her arm, helping her regain balance. Anna's eyes darted around, every rustling leaf or breaking twig magnifying her fear tenfold. When they finally reached the car, they scrambled in, slamming the doors shut, the sense of confinement inside the vehicle offering a small comfort against the vastness and unpredictability of the woods. As they sped away, the dirt path seemed to stretch endlessly, the tree branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Safe within the confines of the city, surrounded by the familiar urban cacophony, they tried to dissect the night's events over cups of coffee. "It had to be some kind of sick joke," Mason mused, but his eyes betrayed his doubt. Jess, her fingers trembling slightly, added, "Or maybe we were just exhausted and let our imagination run wild." But deep down, each one knew that what they experienced was beyond mere fatigue. The unease lingered, a silent testament to the unknown terror of that night. Time moved on, and as the seasons changed, the terror of that night began to blur in their memories. But some scars run too deep, etched forever in the crevices of the mind. One cool evening, as Anna was sorting her mail, she came across an unmarked package. Curiosity piqued. She unwrapped it to find a framed photograph. It was a snapshot of that ill-fated night, capturing a moment of innocence as they exchanged tales around the campfire, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames. But as Anna's gaze drifted to the periphery of the photograph, her heart rate quickened. There, just beyond the reach of the firelight, stood indistinct shadowy figures. Their outlines were hazy, but the intent in their posture was undeniable. They were watching. She immediately called the others, each reaction echoing her own terror. The photo became a haunting reminder of the reality they had tried to deny. They made a silent pact to never venture into the wilderness again. Even within the safety of their homes, on quiet nights when the world around them slept, the soft, indecipherable whispers would find them, reminding them of the mystery that still lingered in those woods. Thank you for joining us on this spine-chilling journey tonight. If you dared to enjoy the tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Creepy Narratives. Remember, some stories stay with you, lurking in the shadows of your mind. Sleep tight, and until our next dark adventure, stay safe out there.